Hello everyone, welcome back to Roughing the Competition. My name is Brant and this is Trevor, and today's going to be looking at Week 8 college football key matchups.
Yeah, we saw last week with Week 7 that there was a lot of upsets, and a lot of the picture, well, it either cleared up or else it got a little more muddy. So let's run through some of these big changes last week. LSU down Georgia 36-16. Well, that's a huge win for LSU, and now they're only 2 weeks from Bama. They got to get through Mississippi State this week, but then they'll be playing Bama, and that could decide the whole thing in the SEC. Washington fell to Oregon in overtime. We saw Washington's kicker miss that last-second field goal. Pretty much erased Washington's hopes of chasing the college football playoff and gave Oregon life in the Pac-12 race. We also saw teams like Penn State falling to Michigan State in the final minutes. West Virginia getting beat down by Iowa State. Everyone, look at that face. Look at that face. It was worse last weekend. With these fails, though, the playoff hopes for those teams are pretty much done. Penn State, West Virginia, Washington, they all saw their playoff hopes dashed. Miami, any hope to climb back in the ACC race, was destroyed with their offense not showing up against Virginia. And lastly, Colorado's hopes were just destroyed by USC, who dominated them on both sides of the ball. Now, matchups like this can have a big effect on the college football playoff, as we know. I mean, as I said, Washington State, Penn State, and West Virginia all kind of fell off playoff contention. So with that said, let's look at the key matchups this week and see what could happen with this race. Kick things off, we got Michigan playing Michigan State. Michigan was the huge winner last week alongside LSU. Both of them climbed into the top 6 of the rankings. Michigan in here at 6. And they get a date with Michigan State, who comes in here at 24 after they upset Penn State. Now, Brant, how are you feeling on this? Because it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, I'm going Michigan here. I don't like to because
Yeah.
I never hid my hatred for Michigan, ever.
Yeah, he doesn't think they should rank that high.
But Shea Patterson is starting to look pretty good this year.
Yeah.
He does have 1,300 passing yards, 68% completion. So he's taking care of the ball, 10-3 TD to interception ratio.
Yeah.
But watch out for Higdon there, 687 yards rushing, 5.7 yards a carry.
Yeah.
I think they control the run game because he had over 100 rushing yards in the last 6 games.
Yeah, they've been pulling it together. I mean, dominating Maryland and turning around and beating up Wisconsin in prime time last week. Michigan's got one date in mind, 11/24. It's the Big Ten, Ohio State-Michigan game. It's probably going to decide that whole east side and set up a Big Ten date for whoever they'll play in from the west, which is probably going to be Wisconsin or Northwestern. Michigan's looking towards that. Now, they got to be careful not to overlook Michigan State here, because as we saw last week, Michigan State tripped up Penn State, but they had to pull out all the stops. This was a classic D'Antoni trying to save his job type of game, where they're faking punts, faking field goals, getting risky, just lucking out more or less.
Yeah.
Bad news for Michigan State fans. Usually you lose a game you shouldn't, and you win a game you shouldn't. You've done that the past 2 weeks. Northwestern beat you, then you turn around and you beat Penn State. Luck runs out here. Michigan's going to beat you up. Sorry, Michigan State, on the next year. All right, so let's look at 2 teams that suffered heartbreak last week. Colorado got decimated by USC. And Washington lost that tough overtime game with Oregon and saw any hopes of the playoffs dashed. So with that said, Brant, who gets the rebound here?
I think it's more of a must-win for Jake Browning and Washington Huskies here.
Really?
And I do think they're going to win. Jake Browning needs to kind of step it up, though. Only 10 touchdowns and 6 picks on the season.
Yeah.
He needs to prove that he is one of the top quarterbacks in the country right now. Because right now, to be honest, he's just playing to get drafted.
Yeah, that's why it definitely seems there.
And he needs to start stepping it up, or he's going to keep falling.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too different from you on that. I mean, I think both these teams suffered heartbreaking losses last week. With Washington, they should have won it. I mean, once again, we see a kicker let down a team, unfortunately. And Browning should have rallied in overtime, pulled it out, but he didn't. Instead, Herbert did, and that's why Herbert's on all of your watch lists for the Heisman this week. With that said, Colorado, we saw basically your true colors last week. USC beat you up and down on both sides of the ball. Let me give you an idea of what Colorado's first 5 possessions was like. Interception, 3 straight 3-and-outs. You didn't move the ball at all. Most of your points came late after USC was already up 28-7. You're not going to bounce back here. Washington's going to tear you apart in revenge. To Chenault, your receiver, he had a pretty good game. I mean, he did what he could, but it can't be one piece for you guys. You got to pull together. Washington big.
Oh, man. We're 2 for 2 right now.
I know, we're agreeing. All right.
Let's see if we agree on this one.
If we go on outlooks, we might disagree here. Now, if you remember back to the ACC Outlook series, I had NC State kind of ruining Clemson's season here. And I believe you had Clemson pulling this one out and running table in the ACC. So do you still feel the same?
I am not feeling the same.
Not feeling the same.
I am changing.
Really? Why
Yes.
are you changing?
I think Finley's just really good quarterback there in NC State. They also have Kelvin Harmon, a receiver, averaging 16.2 yards a catch.
Yeah.
And I think those two together, can pull this upset. Neither of those teams have really played a hard schedule.
Yeah.
And, you got Clemson with A&M and Syracuse.
Yeah.
2 hardest games they've played. Now, A&M, I get them. But, yeah, NC State 2 hardest, Boston College and Virginia.
Yeah.
Maybe Marshall.
Yeah.
I just don't think either one of them has played a terribly tough schedule, and I think NC State, and Clemson almost lost Syracuse at home.
Yeah.
And I think NC State's better than Syracuse. I think NC State gets it done.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. NC State, I think, wins here, but not for what you think. I think Finley just doesn't lose them the game. That front seven for NC State's very talented. We saw this early in the season. It's kind of that underrated front seven. They're going to have a fun time containing those Clemson backs. And Clemson's going to have to rely heavily on Etienne and the other 2 backs who have been averaging 281 a game rushing. They're going to have to hope that that running game is stronger than that front seven for NC State. And NC State's lost 2 heartbreakers past couple years of Clemson. They're not losing here. This is their game to win, their time to win the ACC type of thing. The problem for NC State is the same problem that your Mountaineers have. That game that got canceled is going to hurt both teams. Even if NC State wins here and runs the table, they're probably not making the playoff, just as your Mountaineers suffered that heartbreaking loss and now not having that NC State game to count on. It's not going to help them get back in. And sorry, that's my last.
I'm trying to get over it, man. You're not letting me.
I know. Sorry. It's a big point to make, though. But yeah, for example, last week NC State up 28-3 on Boston College. They let Boston College sneak back in, but Boston College really never had a chance. No. It was closer than it should have been.
3-3.
Mm-hmm. So let's move on to the next one. LSU, Mississippi State. LSU dominated Georgia, which we both called, so nice job. But this is a trip-up game. It's Mississippi State, stout defense. We see it every year in the SEC. Someone comes along that's probably not better than you, but they play good enough to beat you. Is this where LSU trips up?
I don't think so. Joey Burrow looked like a man on a mission last week.
He did.
Let's be honest. Whatever happened in that Florida game, LSU fans, let's just be glad it did happen.
Yeah.
Because it just turned a switch into that team.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
I think I might even change my prediction in a couple of weeks for LSU Alabama.
Really?
Who knows? Joey Burrow's 1,400 passing yards and 242 more yards on the ground. Mm-hmm. But Brissett and Edwards-Helaire, those two are dominating on offense.
Yeah.
640 yards for Brissett with 9 touchdowns, and Helaire 475 and 5 touchdowns. I think LSU controls the ground game. They're at home. I don't think they're going to lose at home.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that same boat. If it was anybody else, this would be a trip-up game. LSU's got, I know Burrow, it's his first year starting, but watch the kid play. It's senior leadership. You don't have that much in college football. And he controls the game. And yes, he did lose the Florida game, but every quarterback has a bad game. But a good quarterback doesn't lose trip-up games. And this is a trip-up game. And I don't think they lose it here. They take that Georgia momentum. They get up early. They get out fast, and they put Mississippi State away quick. If Mississippi State's still there in the third quarter, this might turn into a trip-up game. But I think they put this one to bed, and they focus on that early November matchup with Bama. And I think you're going to see the Tigers roll. I think we'll see them in the SEC title game. I truly do. Yep, so with that, we'll go to the last one.
4-4. Are we going to be right again? Are we going to be...
I think we might disagree here because, well, I'll tell you what. I'll let you go first.
Okay. Well, I got Oregon winning this game.
Okay.
Oregon got a much-needed win against Washington last week.
Yeah.
on the heels of C.J. Verdell, the running back. 29 carries and 111 yards on the ground last week. Justin Herbert, I keep on saying Hubert, I don't know why. But 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 1,600 passing yards in the season.
Yeah.
He's had a good year.
Yeah.
But with Washington State's offense, it's going to be high scoring.
Yeah.
You better expect, if you want to win this game, you need to score in the 40s, if not the 50s. Gardner Minshew, 2,400 passing yards on the season with 19 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. So he knows how to take care of the ball. I think Oregon gets it done.
Yeah, I disagree. And I love my Duckies, but, man, I must be the biggest hater of them this year. Washington State needs this win. It's a reputation thing for them. This team would probably be in the discussion of the undefeateds if they don't lose by 3 to USC. And I got news for you folks. USC is a lot better than we think. I mean, their losses have been good losses, one of them being Texas, who's currently ranked in the top 10. So let's not sleep on USC. Washington State's going to come out here and they're going to throw the ball. And they're at home. This could be a statement win. They win this, they kind of get momentum built to go into the second half of the schedule, which for them is going to include Stanford, Cal, Colorado, Arizona, and an end-of-the-year date with Washington. It's going to be a tough second half, so they're going to need this win to build momentum for that. And you mentioned it yourself, Minshew's thrown a lot. 2,400 yards, 19-4 touchdown to interception ratio. Mike Leach is going to pound that ball, and he's going to do it by throwing it down the field. I don't think Oregon can keep up. I'm sorry. I like the running back Verdell. I like Herbert. They're not keeping up. Washington State's going to beat them. And with that, the Pac-12's hopes of having anybody in the playoff picture completely erased if they haven't already been erased. Pac-12's not good.
Vanna snapped his fingers.
Boom. All right, so that's going to wrap this up. And once again, we're going to see another fun week of college football because all these matchups are going to be entertaining to watch. Even if we think they're landslides, they're probably still going to be worth a watch. So with that said, we're going to wrap up week 8 here. Yeah, week 8. And if you get a chance, catch the week 7 picks for NFL. And we'll see you down the road, guys.
See you guys later. Have a good one.